Hi everyone, today we're going to be making chicken kadhai, very lovingly served in restaurants as well as a very popular restaurant style dish. It's served in chicken, lamb or beef, very commonly served in chicken. What I've got here is we're making today chicken kadhai. I've got chicken pieces that have been brined and I've left it to brine overnight. I've then discarded my water. And it's now been marinating in fresh ginger and garlic. I've got some fresh green chilies that's ready here, white pepper and black pepper. I've got fresh ginger garlic that's ready here. I am going to be using the Kriya Chicken Karahai spice, so that's ready here. Here I've got fresh tomatoes that I have peeled and liquidized, and I am going to now put this up with some organic raw jaggery. If you don't have jaggery, if you can't find jaggery, then you can most definitely use brown sugar or natura sugars, both just as good. Here I've got malt vinegar. You can use malt vinegar, you can use date vinegar, anything that's a natural kind of vinegar, you want to use that. And I've got ghee that's ready here as well. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tomatoes and put it in this pot here, and I'm going to add my jaggery and put this up to cook just till the tomatoes are cooked through and they don't have the raw taste. So what I've done is I've taken my tomato puree and I have added it into a pot, and I've added my jaggery as well. And the reason why we add jaggery or any kind of sugar or brown sugar, whatever, especially with tomatoes, I love doing that, is to create some sort of balance with the tartness of the tomatoes. It's almost always necessary just to create that sort of balance in sweetness. What we're going to do is we're going to allow this to reduce and cook till it doesn't have the taste and raw flavor of the tomato. What we're looking for is a consistency of almost like a tomato sauce, tomato ketchup sort of consistency. And once this comes to boil, I'm going to reduce the temperature and I am going to let this cook down till it's a nice consistency on a slow heat. On this side, I've got my karhai that's ready here, and then I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do in terms of starting off with the chicken while this tomato gets done. So while the tomatoes are getting cooked, I'm going to just take you guys through some key elements when it comes to karhai. With karhai, when we have this in restaurants on street foods and whatever, there's a very big difference. There's a big difference in taste that we taste as often compared to what we cook when we cook at home. And what the biggest difference that comes in when it comes to cooking at home is karhai, when it's cooked in restaurants or when it's cooked on street foods in Pakistan, Lahore, Karachi, whatever, it's done on really high heat under coal. The temperature on that is so high that that the taste of the chicken and the flavor of the chicken that comes from charcoal is very often not attained when we're cooking this at home. Also, what happens is very often people tend to cook karhai, the tomatoes, in the chicken when they're cooking the karhai, and what that does is it sort of creates that moist sort of environment for the chicken, because the tomatoes releases a lot of water, and then your chicken ends up getting it doesn't end up getting sealed properly, it doesn't end up getting browned properly, and we don't end up getting that restaurant sort of feel and flavor when we're doing the karhai. So first important step is to put your tomatoes up to cook, and so that all that extra water and moisture is released, the tomatoes are cooked also. And when we then add it into our sealed chicken, it's not going to release a lot of water, and we're still going to have that beautiful brown flavor and color to our chicken. So for that, what we're going to do is we've started off with chicken that's been brined already. Brining the chicken really makes a big difference in terms of flavor, in terms of getting your chicken tender. And I have already mentioned the brining process in my Nando's roast chicken recipe. The video is uploaded onto my channel already. If you guys want to just go have a look at that video, go have a look at the written recipe that's on there. But I will be doing a post on how I brine my chicken exactly. So this chicken's been brined overnight. overnight, and it's been marinating in fresh ginger garlic for about 2 to 3 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some ghee. Kadai is always cooked in fresh desi ghee. When it's cooked on the street foods in Pakistan and India, they actually cook it with fat that's attained from the animal itself, and probably that's why the flavor is so great. So what we're going to do, we're going to let, while the tomato is getting cooked, we're going to add this ghee into our kadhai, and we're going to seal this chicken on a high heat, and we're going to fry this till it's got beautiful brown golden color. Binging when we're cooking the kadhai, we're going to use desi ghee that we've got here. We're going to add our chicken into our ghee, and we're going to seal this chicken on high heat, and then we're going to keep frying this on medium to high heat till the chicken's got beautiful brown color. Right, so I've added my chicken in, and you can see there's quite a bit of ghee that's here because we really want the chicken to get fried quite nicely and to attain this beautiful color, golden color. So this is, while this gets done, we just want to get this chicken quite nice and brown. I haven't yet added anything else. I've only added my ginger garlic. And on this side, my tomatoes are still getting cooked quite nicely. They're getting reduced quite nicely. We're still continuing to wait for this. We're going to let this come to about, like I said, a tomato puree ketchup sort of temperature. And let's brown this chicken. So like I mentioned, kadhai, when traditionally cooked, especially on the smaller streets of Pakistan, and even in restaurants and stuff, it is very often done over charcoal and on this really, really high heat, which seals your flavor of your chicken so nicely. And that's why we're doing this step, because if we don't do this step, it is going to release a lot of moisture, it is going to release a lot of water, and then we don't end up getting that kadhai sort of feel and flavor to our dish. Other thing to remember, and to cheat the traditional restaurant style kadhai or the traditional kadhai, is to be able to smoke your dish with a piece of charcoal at home. I've shown you guys that in my Nando's chicken recipe as well. So I'm going to do that a bit later on. I am going to take a charcoal that I'm going to light up and make sure that it's nice and red, and then we're going to flavor that into our chicken here. Keep frying this for about 5 to 7 minutes on medium heat till the chicken is nice and golden brown, and then we're going to move on to the next step. To a nice golden color. You can have a look here. We've been frying this on about medium to high heat, and that's the key step, and that's the key element once again when we're cooking this at home, and when we find this cooked or served in restaurants when we eat out, because guys, so an important step to remember when doing this step is to only, we're cooking this on medium to high heat. I just want you guys to check my temperature. This is medium to high gas flame, and we're going to cook this till it's about 70 to 75% done. We don't want to overcook this chicken. We still have a few steps that's remaining when it comes to this dish, and if we completely cook this chicken at this stage, then what's going to happen is our chicken is going to end up being dry. Whether we brine it, we don't brine it, it's a crucial step to remember at this stage. Just literally cook it till it's about 75% done, and then we switch this off, and then we move on to, we're going to add the tomatoes and the spices, and we're going to move on from there. So I'm going to wait till it's about 75% cooked, which is another 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll show you guys the next step. Guys, so the chicken is nice and golden now. It's about 75% cooked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the chicken from this kadhai, and I'm going to take the excess ghee also off. I'm only going to leave about a few tablespoons of ghee that I'm going to need to cook the kadhai with. The extra ghee gets taken off, and in the ghee that's remaining, we're going to add the tomatoes that's been reduced. We're going to move on and add our ginger garlic and the rest of the ingredients, which I'll show you now. I've got that much ghee. It's not a lot, so I'm actually going to leave it, and I'm going to add the tomato puree, which has been reduced, and it's going to go into this now. Have a look here. This is what the reduced tomato should look like. This is what the texture should be. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add this to our karahai, into our karahai here. And now we're going to add the ginger garlic and bring this to heat and braise a bit. And then we add the rest of the ingredients. And then we're going to add the ginger, and then we've got and then we'll go in the chicken. Put it in a lot. So we're going to put it and then we're going to add chicken, reduce the heat, put it on, and let it cook for 5 minutes. So in goes the ginger garlic, and I'm going to braise this for a bit, and then I'll add my chicken and let it cook for a few minutes, and then and then add the vinegar at this stage. So we're adding more vinegar. So let this braise for a bit, and then we're going to add, in goes the chicken back in. And we're going to put the lid on and let this cook for a few minutes. Have a look here. This is what it looks like. We're going to leave this to cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm going to put the lid on, reduce the heat, and come back in about 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to add our green chilies, and once the chicken is cooked completely, that's when we add the rest of the ingredients. And when it comes to the rest of the ingredients, we've only got a few ingredients that's left here. We've got the karahai spice that I need to add, and we've got a little bit of white pepper and a little bit of black pepper, and then we've just got to add the rock salt that I've got ready here. Other than that, there's nothing else that's left here. Simple ingredients. This heat, and let this cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. Because remember, the chicken is cooked already. We don't need to cook the chicken a lot. We just want to make sure that the ghee appears on top and the chicken is cooked through. Okay guys, so it's nearly at that stage now where the ghee is going to start appearing on top. I'm going to add whole green chilies in here, and just whole ones at this stage. And I'm also going to add my salt. So I'm adding rock salt. Give it a bit of a mix. And once the ghee appears nicely on top, then we're going to add the pepper and the karahai spice. Remember the stage, I am going to give it a charcoal flavor once it's cooked, but that I'll show you guys right towards the end. So I'm going to put my charcoal up to get hot, and once that is hot nicely, we're going to just place that into the chicken and make sure that we just add a drop of ghee on it, and then it gives out this beautiful smoke, and we're going to smoke the chicken that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the karahai spice, and I can just see the ghee starting to appear on top. And I'm also going to add black pepper, and that's for heat because the karahai spice doesn't really have a lot of heat. And let's add the pepper. Obviously, we're going to taste it at this stage and then give it a charcoal smoke. Alright guys, so have a look here. The ghee is starting to appear on top really, really nicely. We're going to charcoal smoke it and sprinkle with some fresh ginger and garlic. Fresh ginger, not garlic. Here we go. We can have a look here. The ghee is starting to appear quite nicely on top. This is the kind of texture. Karahai doesn't have a lot of water. That's the sort of feel you want to look for when you're cooking a karahai. That's how it's served in restaurant. There's a big difference when it comes to chicken curry and chicken karahai. Chicken karahai doesn't have water content, and the way we've done it today with the tomatoes, with the sealing of the chicken, that way we ensure that not a lot of moisture is released, and you end up getting as close to what you would have when you're having it at a restaurant. I am going to switch this off now, and we are going to charcoal smoke this and then sprinkle with some fresh ginger and that, and we're going to serve it with naan. Yeah, so this is chicken karahai nearly ready. We're going to smoke it in a bit now. Guys, so here's my charcoal, and I've literally left it on a gas, open gas flame. That's just my gas stove. And what I'm going to quickly do is leave this in a small little bowl here. It's quite hot, and I'm going to just lift this up and place this into my pot where this chicken kadai is. I have got a little bit of ghee that's ready here, and I'm going to, as soon as I place this ghee on top, I'm going to simply place a lid on top and close this. So here's the hot charcoal. I've got some melted ghee here, and I'm simply going to close this straight away. And this is going to give that authentic charcoal sort of flavor. We don't want to do this for very long. I don't want to do this for very long. I'm literally going to leave it only for 5 minutes because this flavor is quite intense. And obviously, the longer we leave it, the more intense the flavor is going to be. So we're going to leave this for 5 minutes. Remove the lid, and we're going to just serve this with some parathas, roti parathas. I've made them with whole wheat atta and a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to literally serve it with that. Also on this side, I've just got some fresh ginger that's slivered and cut, and some fresh coriander that I'm going to use to sprinkle on top. Alright guys, so I'm going to just remove this. It's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to remove this quickly, and we're going to serve this kadai with some roti parathas. Alright guys, so the kadai is ready. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of thinly slivered pieces of ginger and some fresh coriander and green chilies, and that's the kadai that's ready. We're going to serve this. I'm going to show you guys the roti paratha that I made that I'm going to be serving this with. It's close to a restaurant style kadai as you're going to find it. Make it at home, enjoy, and let me know in the comments box below if you've tried it and how have you found this recipe.